Greetings, everyone. It is I, Zachariah White. I must admit, this topic at hand is definitely something of interest, and something that's most noteworthy to myself and the people of Greece, as well as England for that matter. The topic at hand in which we are discussing revolves or pertains towards whether or not the Elgin marbles should remain where they are or if they should be returned to where they came from. The main thing that really draws my attention is this mere fact that we are having this discussion as though it was a serious question. Although I am not an attorney, I am not an ambassador, I am not a museum expert, as a citizen of Greece, I am fully cognizant and I am fully aware of the turn of events which landed the Elgin marbles within the hands of the British. Keeping all of this information in mind, this concept that there was permission granted to take our most valued treasures, or steal our most valued treasures, is very moot and very debatable at best. Thomas Bruce, the seventh Earl of Elgin, and the ninth Earl of Kincardine, was granted permission to take precious pieces of marble from the Parthenon by the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. This is a half-truth and a half-false. This dilemma, this controversy in which we're dealing with, it all stems from the miscomprehension, the misunderstanding on behalf of Lord Elgin. Lord Elgin was granted permission to take some pieces of stone. Some pieces of stone. Lord Elgin took full-on statues and full-on figures back with him to England. If anything, he took, again, large pieces, large full-on statues, full-on figures, excluding a couple body parts. Even going by the ambiguous words of the Ottoman Sultan, even by that particular standard, Lord Elgin did the exact opposite of what he was supposed to do. On another strand of thought, within the same concept of granting permission, there is a certain regard that I hold towards those within English circles. Lord Elgin was also granted permission by Thomas Harrison, who at the time was a major general. To be more specific, Lord Elgin was granted permission to take some paintings and take some copies of Greece's great constructions, Greece's great creations. Right? I must reiterate, there were full-on statues, full-on figures that were removed. There are no copies of anything that are sitting within the British Museum. And there certainly aren't any copies of anything sitting within our Greece's possessions. But let's, at least momentarily, let's just say that Lord Elgin did as he was instructed. The questions that I have in mind are, even if Lord Elgin was truly instructed and truly granted permission to come and take our valued treasures, why didn't the word come from the king at the time, King George III? And even if the word did come from King George III, or regardless of how you want to consider it, even if we're looking at the hypothetical or if we're looking at what really happened with Thomas Harrison, Who are either of those two figures to instruct someone else within their own country to come and take a valued treasure, no, valued treasures from another country? Although I wouldn't quite mind having those questions answered, the response really doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is this: the Elgin marbles belong to Greece. They were made by the Greeks. They were made of the Greeks. They were made for the Greeks. It was not Elgin's place to auction them off. It wasn't even his place to come and take them to begin with. And it certainly wasn't Parliament's place to come along and purchase them and hold them for as long as they did. But I must admit, it is good to some degree that the government and the citizens found a way to become or feel empowered by it. But the Elgin marbles are not theirs in which they can feel empowered by. As I said, they belong to Greece. And in conclusion, I will reiterate once more, the Elgin marbles belong to Greece and should be returned to Greece. It was made by Greeks. It was made of Greeks. It was made for Greeks.